Hello. Today I'm going to tell you about a case from 1935 in the United States that, even after more than 80 years, remains shrouded in mystery and intrigue. This is the story of the murder at the President Hotel, a case that once shocked Kansas City, Missouri. The setting of the crime. The incident took place in Kansas City, a vibrant city in western Missouri, located at the confluence of the Missouri and Kansas rivers. In 1935, Kansas City was a thriving commercial hub and a key transportation center in the United States, attracting all sorts of people from across the country. The President Hotel, where the murder occurred, was built in 1926 and located in the heart of Kansas City. Surrounded by theaters, the hotel was immersed in a lively cultural atmosphere, making it a well-known establishment in the area. The mysterious guest. At around 1:20 p.m. on January 2, 1935, a man in his 20s or 30s walked into the President Hotel. He carried no luggage, wore a formal black coat, had brown hair, and a long scar on his head. His ears appeared deformed, possibly from past injuries. He requested a room that did not face the street, registered under the name Roland T. Owen, and claims to be from Los Angeles. The receptionist assigned him room 1046 on the 10th floor. Strange luggage. Bellhop Randolph Probst escorted the man to his room. During a brief conversation in the elevator, Probst noticed that the man carried only a toothbrush, a tube of toothpaste, and a comb, which he placed on a shelf in the bathroom. Probst then left the room. Unusual events in room 1046. That afternoon, maid Mary Soptic knocked on the door of room 1046 to clean. After being allowed in, she found the room very dark, with the curtains drawn tightly and only a bedside lamp providing dim light. Roland T. Owen was sitting alone at the desk, appearing deep in thought. The atmosphere felt eerie, prompting Mary to clean quickly and leave. At 4 p.m., Mary returned to room 1046 with fresh towels, as part of her daily routine. The door was unlocked, but the room was pitch black, illuminated only by light from the hallway. Owen was lying on the bed, fully clothed, staring at the ceiling, seemingly lost in thought. A piece of paper lay on the desk, but its contents were not recorded. Mary left the towels and departed. The next morning, January 3rd, at around 10:30 a.m., Mary returned to clean room 1046. She found the door locked from the outside, a unique feature of the hotel's locks, which allowed locking from either side. Assuming Owen had left, she used her key to enter, only to find him still inside, sitting on the bed in the dim light. This meant someone had locked the door from the outside, trapping Owen inside. Feeling uneasy, Mary cleaned the room. Suddenly, the phone rang and Owen answered, but Mary couldn't hear the conversation clearly. At 4 p.m., Mary returned with more towels. When she knocked, a gruff, unfamiliar male voice responded from inside. She announced she had brought towels, and the voice curtly instructed her to leave them outside. Mary complied and left. That same day, a woman named Jean Owen, unrelated to Roland T. Owen, checked into room 1048, adjacent to room 1046. She was in Kansas City for shopping and stayed at the hotel with her boyfriend. Around 6:50 p.m., she called her boyfriend to her room. During the roughly 2.5 hours he was there, Jean heard arguing, both male and female voices, from a nearby room, possibly room 1046. The noise was disruptive enough that she considered reporting it to the hotel manager, but ultimately decided against it. On the morning of January 4th, the hotel switchboard operator noticed that the phone in room 1046 had been off the hook for an unusually long time without an active call. Bellhop Randolph Probst was sent to check. At the door, he saw a "Do Not Disturb" sign. Despite knocking repeatedly, he heard only a low voice from inside. The door was locked and no one answered. Assuming the guest might be drunk, Probst shouted for them to hang up the phone and left. By 8:30 a.m., the switchboard operator noticed the phone was still off the hook. Another bellhop, Harold Pike, was sent to investigate. Seeing the "Do Not Disturb" sign, Pike used his key to enter and found the room dark. Owen was lying on the bed, unclothed, appearing intoxicated. The phone receiver was upside down. Pike replaced it and left without waking Owen. Around 10:30 a.m., the switchboard operator again reported an issue with room 1046's phone. Randolph Probst was sent back. Upon opening the door, he was horrified to find Owen kneeling about 2 meters from the door, clutching his head, with blood streaming from his body. Probst turned on the light and saw blood splattered across the bed, walls, ceiling, and bathroom. He immediately alerted the hotel manager, who called the police. Police investigation. Police arrived and found Owen in the bathroom, semi-conscious. He had been tied up at the neck, wrists, and ankles, stabbed multiple times in the chest, and showed signs of torture. When asked who had done this, Owen replied, "Nobody," before losing consciousness. He was rushed to the hospital but succumbed to his injuries in the early hours of January 5. The police sealed off room 1046 for investigation. They found no murder weapon, luggage, or clothing belonging to the victim. 4 fingerprints were found on the phone, but their owner could not be identified. In the room were 2 drinking glasses, 1 broken, an unlit cigarette, and 2 bottles of sulfuric acid, 1 unopened and 1 diluted, possibly used in the torture. The curtains remained drawn, consistent with the staff's reports of Owen's preference for darkness. Witnesses and suspicions. An elevator operator reported that on the evening of January 3rd, a woman about 5'6" tall, weighing around 130 pounds, with dark hair and wearing a seal fur coat, had gone to the 10th floor. She intended to visit room 1026 to meet a man, but couldn't find him, possibly mistaking it for room 1046. She was also seen with a man on the 9th floor, whose description matched hers. Both individuals were considered potential suspects, especially given Mary Soptick's report of an unfamiliar male voice and Jean Owen's account of arguing voices. The police discovered that Roland T. Owen did not exist in Los Angeles. Owen had used aliases like Jean K. Scott to book rooms at the Muehlebach and Regis hotels in Kansas City before arriving at the President Hotel. A bartender at one of these hotels reported seeing Owen with several women on different occasions. Aftermath and the mysterious funeral. 2 months after the murder, no one had claimed Owen's body. The Kansas City Star reported that Roland T. Owen was to be buried in a potter's field on March 3, 1935. However, a funeral home received an anonymous call requesting that Owen not be buried in a pauper's grave and promising to cover the costs for a proper funeral. On March 23rd, an envelope containing sufficient cash arrived. Owen was buried at Memorial Park Cemetery in Kansas City. At the funeral, a bouquet of flowers appeared at his grave with a card reading, "Love Forever, Louise." No one knew who sent the flowers. The true identity of Roland T. Owen. In 1936,
Ruby Ogletree from Birmingham, Alabama, recognized a photo of Owen in a magazine as her son, Artemis Ogletree, who had left home in April 1934 at age 17. She contacted the police and provided additional details. Artemis had left Birmingham after graduating high school, saying he wanted to travel. After his disappearance, Ruby received 3 typewritten letters in 1935, despite Artemis not knowing how to type. The letters were sent from Chicago, New York, and one claiming he was heading to Europe. The final letter, sent from Memphis, Tennessee, on August 12, 1935, after Owen's death, added to the mystery. A man identifying himself as Jordan called from Memphis, claiming he had saved Artemis after a bar fight where he lost his thumb. He also said Artemis was about to marry a wealthy woman and travel to Egypt. Ruby suspected her son was already dead. Conclusion. Although the victim was identified as Artemis Ogletree, the case remains unsolved. The police could not trace further leads due to the victim's use of aliases. Several theories emerged. Some speculated Artemis suffered from mental illness and took his own life, but the signs of torture and the door locked from the outside rule this out. Others believe the murder stemmed from a romantic dispute, supported by the mysterious woman and the Louise card at the funeral. Room 1046 at the President Hotel remains at the heart of one of Kansas City's most enduring mysteries. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened in that room, and the truth may forever remain a mystery.